Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Karting, the home of champions, for day 2, round 3 of the BNL Karting series for the 2026 season. My name's Alex Goldschmidt, with you all the way through right up until the end of the championship season, which curtails in just a few weeks' time, actually a couple of months actually. October the 4th is when we conclude our path to Portimao, the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals venue for 2026 between the 7th to the 14th of November. It has been a very, very busy day yesterday on Saturday for day 1, but overnight we've had localised thunder and rainstorms and also lightning, which woke me up in my hotel room at about 1:30 this morning, but thank goodness for the rain hitting the windows, so I managed to get some good sleep ready for today. But it's going to be eat, sleep, rinse, repeat, as I said yesterday. Another 17 races, which curtails with the 4 finals later on this afternoon. Over 160 drivers have ventured to the Limburg region of Belgium, around about a half-hour drive from the German border to the Nordrhein-Westfalen district of that nation. But more to the point, here at Karting Genk, it is a circuit that has been in operation for over 4 decades, so before we go trackside, let's give you a little reminder. It is the house that Lemons built. Karting Genk, the home of champions, has been around since the 1980s, and in mid-2000s evolved to the layout you see here. And every single driver that I speak to that has been here and raced competitively for the very first time, it is a driver's favourite. It has a blend of speed, momentum and technicality that makes it a true all-round venue for hosting international and global events here in this famed part of Belgium. So Belgium, one of the most culturally available countries within continental Europe, as the circuit itself, based off of the famed Europaplan here in Genk, is running, as always, in a clockwise direction, measures 1,360 metres. 11 total corners make up the 3 respective sectors. The first one concludes just after turn 5 as they head down the Europaplan. The next one after turn 8, heading down into Café Corner. And then the third and final one across the start-finish line. So, the mechanics have cleared the grid for the first of our 3 qualifying heats for Junior Rotax. A couple of drivers did take part in yesterday's event. Some have withdrawn, mainly because of the fact that they're focusing their efforts on the forthcoming round of the 2026 Rotax Max Challenge Euro Trophy that will be here this coming weekend. The air temperature at its earliest here today was around about between 20 to 22 degrees Celsius, but the cloud cover has vacated the majority of the skies that we see above us as the sun beats down on this iconic venue. We are T-minus less than 60 seconds before the drivers are set on their way. This will be the first of a 3-part live stream schedule, courtesy of our friends at WFR TV. And a big thank you to them for once again providing the quality of coverage that you see on the official BNL Karting Series YouTube channel. Now, a little bit of a request from yours truly. We are fast approaching nearly 3,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel, so please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Whilst you're at it, hit that notification bell so at least you know when the next scheduled broadcast will be online. Of course, for those needing a little bit of history for the championship, established back in 2008. And is an internationally recognised series and has seen the likes of Rinus VK, a driver that raced in W Series, Bajtskivissa, DTM champion Thomas Preining, and of course 4-time Formula One world champion Max Verstappen. After qualifying this morning, well, Harry Taylor will start from pole position. He'll be joined by Albert Friend on the front row. Branislav Rentka and Trent Van Mellick will be on row 2. Charlie Kitely and Luca Holmes-Malak round out row 3. Joshua Lorison and Jensen Chalk round out row 4, and they will be joined by Martin Soltis and the UK's Louis Radcliffe. And good to see and our colleagues, our WFR TV colleagues, are over in Muret for this weekend's events of the National Series de Karting. So, bon dia to everyone there from WFR TV. Rounding out the grid will be the likes of Devrim Yater, Alex Shepherd, Stanley Stafford, Mikkel Grantins, Didier Dali, Harry Radcliffe, Riley Morrow, Thibaut Mercier, the son of two-time Formula One world champion Mika Hakkinen, who celebrated his 35th anniversary of association with McLaren. Daniel is racing with us this weekend. He's going to be starting out of Portugal's João Pereira. Kimi Mai, Leon Herbos, Sebastian Clark, Jensen Walker, Tim Feldman, Lionel Munguia, Dimitar Lazarov, Lennart Koster, and Eren Nlodogan. Sam Kohler and Ali Fuat Miraz have both withdrawn from the event. And if you are watching, there's over 160 of you doing so. Make sure, if you want to know the live timing, it is in the description. But please, please let us know who you're supporting this weekend. Because more to the point, we want to hear from you. It's you people out there, you people wherever you are watching in the world. We thank you for joining us. Air temperature now 26 degrees centigrade. Proceedings will be supervised by our series race director, Mr. Manuel Branco, assisted by his team, as it is an all DHR front row. Harry Taylor was quickest in Group 1 in qualifying, but it was a double delight for Switzerland as Luan Seidel will lead Group A, following in the footsteps of countryman Vanaris Pascu, who took pole yesterday. As the red lights are on the gantry for the first time today, we go, revs up, lights on, and we are racing here in the opening qualifying heat. Good start by Harry Taylor, as we see the 205 of Slovakia's... we've had a bit of an incident at the back end of the field. Two carts interlocked, but Branislav Rentka tried to get through on Albert Friend, who switches to the outside of DHR teammate. Oh, that's round the outsides, four wheels on the grass, and Albie Friend goes sideways and goes backwards at the same time. Whoa, that's not how you want to start the opening heat of the second day of competition, Mr. Friend. And, well, good to see Yori Smets cheering on Joshua Lorison. But a big old faux pas by Albie Friend, who's dropped to the bottom, maybe just outside of the top 10. But completing lap number 1, it is going to be Harry Taylor that leads the way. And it's Luca Holmes-Malak rounding out second. Third, it's side-by-side between Charlie Kitely and Trent Van Mellick. Jensen Chalk now up 3 places from 8th. Now is in 5th. Branislav Rentka, Martin Soltis, Louis Radcliffe. Riley Morrow has sprung up 8 places in the opening lap of this heat. Sebastian Clark has jumped up 12 spots and is now currently 11th in the 251. As Joshua Lorison, unfortunately, is out, I'm afraid. The youngster from Belgium retires on the opening lap. Dimitar Lazarov drops to the bottom of the timesheets. But meantime, Stanley Stafford in 10th now gets a black and white warning flag, is a little bit further back. Just seen the 244 of Lennart Koster passed by Devrim Yater. Meantime, Taylor and Holmes-Malak are lying astern, the 253 and the 220. And you can make that a DHR top 3 with Charlie Kitely. 4.5 minutes plus an additional lap left to go. Biggest mover, Sebastian Clark, now up to 9th. That is 14 positions gained by the 251. But Taylor and Holmes Black as... Oh, Daniel Hakkinen now is going to get a black and white warning flag in the 294, running with Kraft Motorsport. So just over 4 minutes to go. Taylor and Holmes Black have rocketed away into the distance and are 1.6 seconds up the road. Charlie Kitely still holds on to P3, ahead of Trent Van Melk. Chalk, Renke, Soltis, Morrow, Clark, Louis Radcliffe. They round out the top 10. Albie Friend now is currently sitting in 11th place and has just got past Alex Shepard. Branislav Renke, now the fastest driver on the circuit. 58.146. As Maria Life 333, good luck Trent Van Melk, who has just been passed for 4th place by Jensen Chalk from MLC Motorsport in the number 218. And we are more than halfway through this opening race out of 3 in terms of the qualifying heats for the juniors. And it's 0.163 between Taylor and Holmes Black, which is the optimum window to be in the slipstream coming out of the final corner at turn 11. And there's a change for the lead. The 220 gets through at turn number 2. So Luca Holmes Black gets through on Harry Taylor. Albie Friend now takes the fastest lap of the race of a 57.520 and is now nearly up the rear bumper of Louis Radcliffe in the 227. Charlie Kitely has now been passed by Jensen Chalk, who's bridged the gap down between Taylor and himself to just over a second. As a nice little deft move. That was by the 205 of Branislav Renke through on Trent Van Melk. And Van Melk is trying to fight back at the Slovakian at the moment. Harry Taylor, however, does not want Luke Holmes Black to constantly lead the race and go for the W. And Holmes Black says, well, 2 can play at that game. It takes 2 to tango, folks. And Holmes Black returns the favour going through into turn 2. Harry Radcliffe, now the fastest driver out on the circuit. 56.961, went purple in the middle sector. Jensen Chalk has gone purple in sector 1. And he is now right on the rear of the 2 leaders. 90 seconds to go plus an additional lap, and there is another move. Jensen Chalk through on Taylor for P2. Now has to chase down the 220. Charlie Kitely is one that we do know has the quantifiable performance to close on in and pass some very fast pedallers in front of him. Albie Friend now back up to P10 on the recovery drive. He's now got Sebastian Clark not that far behind him. And Clark is now up 12 spots into 11th. And could we see a move here? Yep, Jensen Chalk through on the inside of Luke Holmes. Malacca gets the switch back. Oh, a little bit of a scrub between the pair. Oh, Charlie Kitely, where did you spring from? He went round the outside of the drivers in front. So not just Harry Taylor, but also did a number on Luke Holmes Black as the 222 of Sam Pollock Racing's Riley Morrow gets a black and white warning flag from race control. We are very close on time, but it's going to be 2 more laps of this 1,360 metre circuit. So 2.72 kilometres, 22 corners to negotiate. And Jensen Walker now up 9 places from 24th, is more than likely going to set the new fastest lap, which does happen, but then quickly gets pipped by Stanley Stafford for that prestigious honour of taking the fastest lap of the race. Timer has expired. And more changes of position. Branislav Vrenka gets through on Charlie Kitely. For Jensen Chalk looking to secure a victory at least, because every driver wants to go out there and wants to go to win. And Jensen Chalk, I've known him for quite a time. Him and his dad Mike, who's also here. But it is going to be one more lap remaining. Jensen Chalk. So Jensen Chalk will lead across the line. Harry Taylor, Luke Holmes-Balak, Martin Soltis and Branislav Vrenka. Oh, well, they round out the top 5. Riley Morrow now up 11 spots and is running 6. Sebastian Clark now up 14. Jensen Chalk now he's got clear air as we're on the final lap of the race. Is just on quickest of anybody. 56.535 for the 2:18. Pretty good job there from Jensen Chalk, starting on the outside of what was row number 4. 8th place he started and is just 3 more corners away from taking the opening qualifying heat victory here on day 2, round 3 here on Sunday. Checkered flag is going to be prepared, and Jensen Chalk opens up his ordering books. I'd like a win, please, sir. And he gets it. Great job there by the MLC Motorsport driver, finishing ahead of Harry Taylor, Luca Holmes-Balak, Martin Soltis and Branislav Vrenka round out the overall top 5. Riley Morrow 6th, having started 17th, ahead of Albert Friend. Sebastian Clark, who made up 15 positions from 23rd, to round out the top 8, with Louis and Harry Radcliffe completing the top 10. Great stuff. Jensen Walker will then take 11th, head of Trent Van Mellick, Charlie Kitely, Alex Shepard and Didi Dadala rounding out the top 15. Mikkel Grantins, Kimi Mai, Thibaut Mercier, Erin Nlodogan, Daniel Hakkinen round out the top 20. Lionel Magria, Lennart Koster, Joao Pereira, Dimitar Lazarov and Tim Feldman round out the runners and riders that finished. Unfortunately for Leon Herbo, Stanley Stafford, Devon Mieta and Joshua Lorison, the race was done early for all of that quartet, with Ali Fouet Miraz and Sam Kohler opting to withdraw from the race and thereby the remainder of the weekend. Time to take you through the grid for the first of 6 qualifying heats for Senior Rotax. It's A versus B up front. Tino Sidler starts from pole position ahead of Macaulay Bishop on the front row of the grid. Max Siderski and Mick van den Hout make it an all-Dutch row number 2 with Antoine Lemieux and Teresa Babichkova rounding out row 3. Yori Schoens and Leon Hasty row 4. Lado Guanidze and Freddie Lloyd, who won the final yesterday, round out the top 10. Boris Maximov, Bran van der Weyken, Deacon Russell, Matej Vikor, Vic van Kampenhout, Louis Oliver Gunther, Rafael Moho, Danny Shields, Akos Madaras, Tobias Norman, Luca Demoitru, Shun Sekaguchi, Rein van der Meer, Sverre Ubben, Koen Willems, Noah Janssen, Cody Lepeterhel from Guernsey, Raymer van Beek and Dennis Helsen from Belgium round out the grid. Ryan Gandor from Canada has opted to withdraw from the event. From what I understand, or he's not racing in this, so probably saving his machinery and himself for next weekend. Red lights, all 4 of them, ignited on the gantry. Could hear from Sarah Kilby saying, "Come on, Connor Large." I'm sure that we'll see Connor in one of the upcoming qualifying heats before the lunch break, Sarah. Thank you for jumping into the chat. It's Sidler and Bishop on the front row. Sidler on pole. Let's see what happens as we go. Revs up, lights on, and we are underway. It's a good start evenly from the front row as Bishop to the outside of Sidler. Siderski there in third. Van den Hout trying to get his elbows out in his own right. Macaulay Bishop, has just been passed. Someone's flung it around the outside of Macaulay Bishop. He went wide using the runoff area, and that would have been more than likely probably Teresa Babichkova that got round the outside. She's done that again. Had a quick chat with her. The eldest of 4 siblings, as there's a change for the front end of the field. Max Siderski now through on Tino Sidler. Siderski had a final to forget yesterday, unfortunately, having been run over on the left-hand side of his cart, eliminating him from the final. But today's Babichkova through at turn 9, gets through on Tino Sidler. And now, here comes the conga line a la Senior Rotax. After the opening lap, it is Siderski that leads. Babichkova second. Sidler in third. Macaulay Bishop fourth. We'll make that. No, it's Scotland's Leon Hasty. So we've got 2 Scottish drivers in the field at the very least. Both of which are under the same awning. Craft Motorsport. So nice job there by the 383. And he dives to the inside of the man from Switzerland. Good to hear from Tino's older brother and 4-time Swiss Rotax senior champion, Mario, who is elsewhere coaching. Mario, God, it was all good catching up with you at Austria Court, and you let me down for the remainder of the season, my friend. But Sidler is now going to have to fend off the advances of Leon Hasty, as Max Siderski is now going to find out how you need to battle against someone as accomplished as Teresa Babichkova, now based in Manchester in the UK. Younger sister Elise is going to be studying in Scotland for university. She'll be moving there quite soon. I think it's Glasgow, Teresa was telling me yesterday. And again, just wonderful to see so many great people that I've got to know over the years. And Babichkova, she gets through for the race lead. With 4.5 minutes left to go, the driver from the Czech Republic hits the front. Of course, there's been quite a few fast females that have been in the Senior Rotax division over the past few years. mainly over the past decade since I've been commentating, one of which is a name that if you know your Swedish karting drivers, particularly when it comes to a two-time European champion, 2019 and 2020, that driver, Matilda Olsson. Right, Kart 393 has just been given a black and white warning flag. 393, Reimer van Beek, and unfortunately Shun Sekaguchi has retired. And here comes Swiderski, Sidler, and also Hasty. Hopefully, well, no pun intended with regards to Leon's surname, but I'm sure that he's going to exercise patience at this particular point. Oh, right. Akos Madaras has just been given the meatball flag. 325 has got a black and white warning flag. Danny Shields, keep it nice and clean. As I think I've just seen someone else take a little bit of a hit. That was possibly... It was one of the KMS Europe karts. Not sure who that was. However, if Akos Madaras does not pay attention to that mechanical black flag, that will become an exclusion from the session. You have up to a couple of laps to park your kart in the pit lane. Meantime, front end of the field, Babichkova, I think, is back up front. And I think Max Swiderski, yes, he has lost out to Macaulay Bishop, who's now up into second position. Freddie Lloyd from Evolution Racing, the winner in the final yesterday, is at the minute holding on behind the Dutch driver from SP Motorsport in third. But there we go. Lloyd to the inside at turn 11. Oh, that was beautifully sweeping. It was like poetry in motion. Koen Willems now gets a black and white warning flag. And, well, all I can say now is Akos Madaras should have now pitted. As Boris Maximov, now back at Bouvin Power, takes the fastest lap time of the race, 56.062. Babichkova and Bishop battling once again for the race lead as they head through into turn 6. Biggest mover, unfortunately, is Lado Koenidze. Has lost what will be 16 places from P20 on the grid. As Madaras has parked it in the pits. Kohanidze has parked it in the pits. Lemieux, Sekaguchi and Van der Meer are out. Meantime, Macaulay Bishop now is the new race leader with this and 2 more to go. As Macaulay Bishop hits the front end of the field, behind is Teresa Babichkova. Fast Freddie Lloyd, if I remember correctly. Now, I have not got the all-speaking, all-knowing article of Henry Rodette by my immediate side. But nevertheless, still some great battling to be had at the front end of the field. So Koen Willems gets a black and white warning flag, and there's an incident coming out of the final corner. Oh dear. Now, I have got a feeling one of those karts is, oh, it's Max Swiderski. You never like to see that, I'm afraid. The last few corners still depend on how the rest of the season will transpire. We're in the penultimate round out of 4. But it is going to be one more lap after this. Macaulay Bishop leads from Teresa Babichkova. And look at this, they're starting to fan out now. This is going to be rather interesting in the dying few moments of this race, because now we've got a change. Leon Hasty up to second. Who's in third? That is going to be... I think that is... Yes, that's Bran van der Weken. Bran van der Weken now up into P3. Tino Sidler fourth. So we are on lap 9 out of 9. Oh, Tino Sidler gets a warning flag. But after a very exciting opening Cinemax qualifying heat on day 2, it is going to be Macaulay Bishop that wins. Leon Hasty up from 7th to 2nd, or 8th to 2nd. Bran van der Weken started 12th, now P3. Tino Sidler drops 3, finishes in 4th, ahead of Boris Maximov. So 24 drivers out of the 30 that were due to start haven't quite, well, have kept themselves above water with their legs paddling like frantic underneath. But there you see the results. Bishop from Hasty, van der Weken, Sidler, Maximov, Günther, Van den Hout, Uben, Schoens, Norman and Van Kampenhout rounding out the top 11. Victor Matej rounding out 11th ahead of quite a few other drivers. Well, Matej Vikor 12th ahead of Teresa Babichkova. Noah Janssen and Rafael Moreau rounding out the top 15. Cody Lepaterel, Rafael Moreau and Cody Lepaterel round out the top 16 ahead of Danny Shields. Deacon Russell, Freddie Lloyd, Raymond Van Beek, Koen Willems, Luca de Moitru. And then also after that we have got Akos Madaras, Lado Kohenidze, Antoine Lemieux, Rein van der Meer and Ryan Gandor eliminated early in the race. Time to take you through the starting grid for our second of 6 qualifying heats for Senior Rotax. It is Group C versus D. Lars Lambers and Lewis Gilbert will line up on the front row of the grid. Ahead of Bastian Misniel and Vince van der Haala. Boris Verhagen, Harry Freeman will start ahead of Attila Kalapax and Canada's Arnaud Sabahin. Conor Lodge and Tom Hedger next up ahead of Ollie Wise and Sebastian Koch. Charlie King and Kai Clark. Arav Dewan and Mark Kimber. Philip Lenk and Tom Strehler, Andrea Remy and William Pemble, Antoine Dahon and Bo Alris, Hannes Zuberfeld and Matteo Montrone, Enzo Zani and Giorgia Montrone will start ahead of Ryan Cairuz and Francis Louis Le Rigoleur, ending up last. But Ava Morris retires from the weekend after sustaining an injury yesterday. We wish her all the very best in her recovery. As Swiss developer in the YouTube chat says, "Come on, Kraft." I know which team you're cheering for today then. Seven minutes on the... Oh, and we've had a little bit of a coming together, which has involved a couple of karts. I think Bastian Mesniel was compromised. We're going to get a full start on that one. So, right call by race director Manuel Branco saying, well, you've had a little bit of an incident. That was coming through into the final corner, so he's going to send them around again. So, Heat 2, well, qualifying Heat 2, C versus D, Senior Rotax, now hits the escape button and does the old switch it on and switch it back, well, switch it off and switch it back on again to get themselves reset for their first of 3 qualifying heats. And now they get into 2 lines. Rolling start. Let's see. Let's hope that Bastian Misniel does not get a little bit of a... nearly the way that I saw it last night with whatever food he... well, or somewhere where he had some food in his hands. You don't want a spillage or a clean up on aisle 3 because you'll be the one getting the mop. Right. Revs up. Lights on. And the second time of asking, we are green and racing. It's all about the run to the first corner in Lewis Gilbert's textbook. From the pride of Scotland to go to the outside if he's stuck on the outside line, going through into the right-hander at T1. So just over 30 seconds into this encounter, plus an additional lap. Lambers, quickest first sector. Gilbert quickest in the second. But Lars Lambers now has the lead. Still a lot of juxtaposing going on in terms of trying to find if you can get an opportunity to pass somebody. You'll take it without any secondary hesitation whatsoever. There's the 329 of the Pride of Scotland, currently also racing in GB3 with Arden Motorsport. Lewis Gilbert from Dalry in Ayrshire. He is closing in on the driver up front, which is I think the 361 of Bastien Mesnil from France. So we've now completed lap 2. We're on to lap 3. And that was a little bit cheeky there from the 302. Boris van Haag finding his way past a couple of drivers. So that just goes to show once again the finite's competitiveness between these drivers. There is a lot of skill sets up and down the length and breadth of this quality field, but the top 3 starting to break away significantly now. Boris van Haag gets a black and white warning flag from race control for his efforts, which once again says driving standards are being policed. So Lars Lambers now ahead of Lewis Gilbert. Vince van der Halle rounds out the top 3, and Gilbert's now leading. Gilbert now leads. And Conor Large has dropped a few places. A few places lost for Sebastian Koch. Hardest charger of the day so far in this class, Enzo Zani from 25th at the start, now runs 10th. And Vince van der Halle gets through on teammate Lars Lambers for second position before they cross the timing beam on the run coming out of turn 5 and then heading on to the famed Europalan. But still, can't keep a good driver down. Gilbert, when he's on his A game, the Pride of Scotland always pretty much puts his mind to whatever he wants to achieve. And so far this weekend, he's able to concentrate on just one category alone, which makes a change. And as I say that, Lewis Gilbert, fastest lap of anybody. 56.216 for the Scotsman. And before I forget, for those in the UK that celebrate today, I'd like to say Happy Father's Day to all the dads, stepfathers, and father figures that are in a lot of young people's lives. Big thank you to them for what they do day in, day out. Right, Charlie King down in 18th position has a black and white warning flag from race control. Dear, Ryan Kairouz in the 373, and along with that was the 313. Matteo Monterone from Italy. So those two came together, abruptly blocked the track ever so slightly, but they've managed to gather it back up and go pointing in the correct direction. Lewis Gilbert still continues to lead the way. Van der Halle closing him in, slowly but surely. But still, with just over a minute and 10 left to go on the clock, plus an additional lap, Lewis Gilbert is holding on to the proceedings, as we kind of thought that might have been the case. Freeman's got the new fastest lap of the race, 55.513. So Harry Freeman is starting to close on those in front. In the words of the late great Murray Walker, it's one thing to catch, it's something completely different when you try and pass them. The same can be said, reference karting. So congratulations to Lewis Gilbert for winning that Senior Rotax qualifying heat. Now time to take you through the grid for Mini and Mini Max rookie. Noah Stayhouder took pole earlier on today. He starts from pole position. Ahead of James Roots, Joshua Cook, August Lingzo, Dayan Habits, Logan Rolfe, Austin Amon, Miller de Carsmaker, Tim Hansler, Maria Roberto, Jensen Skeffington. Along with that, Tristan Abeels, Flynn Grantham, Vincenzo Silva, Sebastian Behrman, Teddy Murphy, Arthur Bowers, Jayan Prakash, Ben Falker, Lenny Barton, Samar Chopra, Amizio Zani, Alexander Feinstein, Caio Vieira, Arlo Gamble, Kai Suri, Arthur Ray Steenbergen, Eva van Middendorp, Henry Meyer, Julian Lorison, Gustavo Oliveira, and Charlie Page. Charlie Page, unfortunately, was excluded from qualifying due to a loose exhaust manifold, which is basically that connects the exhaust to the engine. And this is just the qualifying heat, so 7 minutes plus an additional lap will then decide who will be where for the pre-final after the lunch break. Yesterday, Charlie Page won in Mini, and in Mini Rookie, it was Arthur Bowers in the number 99 that took the win. Bowers is going to start quite a way down the order, round about mid-pack, but will have close rival Jayan Prakash not too far behind, as the driver is being guided by Series Race Director Manuel Branco, part of the team here at WFR TV, and a big thank you to them who power our live streams for the BNL Karting Series. So 33 drivers set to go into battle for this race. Can Joshua Cook strike early is the big question. Revs up, lights on, and we are racing. Or are we not? No, we're not. Jump the gun there. Full start from my perspective. So they're going to send them around again. So if our race director is not happy, then the next action taken will be putting the drivers round for another formation lap. So the drivers very slowly making their way down the famed Europolan section. Which is parallel to the main Europolan itself, where the speed limit is about 90 kilometers an hour on both sides of the road. But these drivers will be going quicker than that before they they throw the anchors out of the back, which basically means that's another terminology of well, from my side, of putting your brakes on. Good to hear from Anita Gamble. Good luck, Arlo. Hopefully some better luck today. Yep, not the greatest run for Arlo yesterday, the defending Mini Rookie champion from last season. Let's see if Arlo can make some moves up the order. But it is going to be down to Noah Stayhouder and James Roots to control the rolling start. The full start lights have been extinguished. The red lights are on the gantry. And for the second time today, it's revs up, lights on. And are we underway? Yes, we're good to go. And Charlie Page trying to make his way through. He's already got past 3 people. But look at that throw round the outside by James Roots. Oh, he absolutely muscled his way round the outside as it's 2 by 2. It's 3 wide going through into turn 3. And there is Josh Cook running in his Team UK race suit from the Grand Finals. But more to the point, now James Roots and Josh Cook have made sure they're going to do what they can But here is August Lingzo trying to get his way through on the Netherlands' Noah Stayhouder, who was trying to use his elbows as the Dane fires it up the inside at turn 9 at Cafe Corner. Lingzo through on Stayhouder. And right behind them, they've got the 106 of Belgium's Milan de Karlsmaker. Oh dear, that was a bit of a run wide coming out of turn number 11 by Stayhouder, who drops to 7th. That allows the Karlsmaker, Logan Rolfe to both go through. Rolfe trying to look through on the inside of the 106 from Belgium. Logan Rolfe gets through. The Karlsmaker has to use the runoff error. Stayhouder to the inside at turn 3. Logan Rolfe keeping the throttle stuck in on the 135 Cosmic and stays in front of the Dutchman. And there is still plenty of racing left to go here today at the Home of Champions. So if you are one of the 240 plus people watching, please make sure you can... look at this. Share as much as you can, because look at this behind. Noah Stayhouder. Oh, bit of a run wide there. That was from the 125, I believe. Or 120. Well, it might have been the 125 or the 135. As now, Josh Cook has got James Roots in his crosshairs. But he's not going to chance it yet. He's going to wait, bide his time, look for the opportunity and go, right, here's my chance, let's go for it. Austin Amman now up into P3, up 4 spots, and has just got through on August Lingzo from Denmark. Teddy Murphy up 8 positions now from 16th on the grid, now runs P8. Charlie Page started 32nd and is now up 11 positions. Sebastian Behrman now up from 15th. We've got a gaggle here. Teddy Murphy has got through on Noah Stayhouder. Maria Roberto is going to be right in that mix, along with Sebastian Behrman, Dayan Habits, Arthur Bowers. Milan de Karlsmaker drops to 12th. And look at this, they're fanning out down the start-finish straight, heading into T1. Meantime, Roots has started to pull away from Cook at this point. Austin Amman in 3rd place now puts in the fastest lap. 1 minute, .981 for the 1-2-1 for Sam Pollock Racing. He's got August Lingzo from Dams Racing. Not that far behind his rear bumper. Then it is Logan Rolfe, Teddy Murphy, now up from 16th to 6th as Dayan Habits is going to be showing the black and white warning flag from race control. Austin Amman is absolutely flying and is closing that gap to the 2 in front. So Josh Cook, got to make a decision now. When are you going to fire it past James Roots? That's the big question. Is it going to be answered yet? It is. There we go. Josh Cook through on James Roots for the race lead. Austin Amman has now got that gap down between 2nd and 3rd, so around about 4/10 of a second. To get an understanding as Austin Amman comes through as the fastest lap holder of the race. Josh Cook now 2/10 ahead of James Roots. Austin Amman sets the fastest opening sector of the race thus far. But Lingzo is trying to keep the 3 in front. Very, very honest is the youngster from Denmark. And they are now heading into the final corner. There's going to be a change. Austin Amman, I think, might have just got past James Roots. Yes, he has. There we go. Ben Falke, 115 from Germany, gets a warning flag from race control. And then that's swapped because August Lingzo's done the same, 1 minute .325. So it's a case of if one does something, someone else will respond accordingly. And that's case in point with these mini and mini rookie drivers. At the moment, Arthur Bowers is up from 17th on the start and has made up 6 places. Now runs P11 and is closing in on Flynn Grantham in the number 126, who rounds out the top 10 at the moment. Jayan Prakash, unfortunately, has retired from the race on lap 3. Arlo Gamble has tumbled to 31st. Who else has had dramas? Tim Hansler started 9th, now has dropped 10 places, runs 19th. Looks like we're going to have 2 more laps to go, including this one. Josh Cook leads, Austin Amman P2. Austin Amman nearly stuck his nose up the inside through of the 175 from KR Sport through into turn number 1. But again, just goes to show the calibre of the field. Josh Cook still holds on. Austin Amman, can he try and get the switch back through into turn 5? Well, not if James Roots can say anything about it. And here comes August Lingzo. Roots looks over his left shoulder, sees Lingzo pointing in the other direction, saying, come on, go that way, go yonder. Tristan Abeels now picks up a black and white warning flag from race control. That is the 109 down in 24th. But it is going to be another 1.36 kilometres, and Josh Cook has got to try and hold on, but to the inside he goes. And here comes Lingzo, last lap underway. And Josh Cook is trying to anticipate what Austin Amman is doing. Austin Amman can't get through, neither can James Roots on Amman. And there is Lingzo right with them, who's going to try for the move. Up the inside goes the Dane on the Brit. James Roots loses 3rd position as Dayan Habits sets the new fastest lap of the race, 23 thousandths away from breaking underneath 60 seconds. But look at this, Austin Amman to the inside, down into turn 6, off of the Europlan. Josh Cook could not keep it around the outside. It was too risky to try and make that move. But holds on to 2nd position. Now down out of turn 8 for the final time here on lap 8 of the race. As Austin Amman now will stride through turn 10 in towards turn number 11. Checkered flag is going to wave, and for this particular occasion it is Austin Amman from Sam Pollitt Racing that takes the victory after 8 laps, winning by just over 0.3 of a second ahead of Josh Cook, with August Lingzo rounding out the top 3. James Roots, Logan Rolfe, Sebastian Behrman round out your top 6, with Behrman up 9 places from 15th on the start ahead of Dayan Habits, Noah Stayholder, Flynn Graham, Teddy Murphy, who completes the top 10. Arthur Bowers 11th ahead of Mina de Carlsmaker and Maria Roberto. Samar Chopra from the UAE made up 7 places from 21st to finish 14th ahead of Germany's Tim Hansler. Jensen Skeffington, Vicente Silva, Amizio Zani, Ben Falca and Kai Suri round out the top 20. Caio Vieira, Lenny Barton, Alexander Freinstein, Gustavo Oliveira, Tristan Abeels, Henry Moya, Charlie Page, Julian Orison, Arlo Gamble, Arthur Ray Steenbergen, Evert van Middendorp and Jayan Prakash round out the finishing order, with Prakash the only retiree out of 32 drivers. So we now go from Mini and Mini Rookie to DD2 and DD2 Masters. Here is your starting... Oh, hang on. Before I go through the grid, there was a kart on the dummy grid that was not being completely compliant. As the drivers make their way out onto the that is Ben Kaminsky in the 430. And that is going to be a real drama if that can't get started. Sabo Bendit starts from pole position and will have the 468 of SP Motorsports. Ralph van der Pavert alongside on the front row. Mika van der Pavert and Enzo Bol round out row 2. Manuel Tenchet and Wout Kirstens round out row 3. Head of Len Nyes and Patrick Donica who complete row 4. Completing the top 10 from Qatar, Hamza Hashisho for Motorskate, with Pepin Rietman for SP Motorsport representing the Netherlands, completing the top 10. Followed by Yannick Jacobs, Ben Kaminsky. If he's managed to get that kart sorted, we'll need to start from the dummy grid. Artur Videra, Theo Lemoine, Jim Ringelberg, Matthias Ankans, Theo Lang, Christophe Capitan, Mac McGilvray, Steve Vermeulen, Gwen Bloxhill, David Mitchell and Dominic Hummels round out the grid. So, not too sure if we are going to see Ben Kaminsky out. Yes, okay, Ben Kaminsky is rolling towards the end of the dummy grid. So, in that respect, the 430 from Germany is going to have to do a lot of hard charging forwards and probably overdrive the kart to try and catch up to everybody in front, because as soon as the red lights go out and the start is initialized, Ben Kaminsky will be released. I do have to say, I'm quite impressed with, well, I should be impressed with someone of the caliber of Hamza Hashisho. Second year of driving, but has gone straight in at the deep end at DD2 and qualified, you know, didn't have the greatest qualifying yesterday, but has done better today. However, it's Bender versus Ralph van der Pavert on the front row. Van der Pavert, I'm sure, will have the advantage as we go. Revs up, lights on, and we are underway for the 7-minute qualifying heat. Sabo's going to have the advantage, and Len Nyes sprints out of position and manages to get up to P2. Oh, Len Nyes, you cheeky little scamp. Manages to fly up from what was 7th on the grid, and that's 5 positions within about 200 metres. So, not at all surprising with what the current the current points leader in DD2 is able to achieve. But it is the fact that we've got Mika van der Pavert leading the way. Mika's older brother, Ralph, is P3 with Enzo Bol just behind. Patrick Donica's on the move and has just got through, I think, on Wout Kirstens for position. After the opening lap, it is Mika van der Pavert that leads. Len Nyes second. Ralph van der Pavert third. Enzo Bol, Wout Kirstens. And there we go. It is a 1-2 for the brothers. Mika and Ralph van der Pavert leading the way. Len Nyes sandwiched in between. Well, was sandwiched in between. Two SP Motorsport karts. Enzo Bol got through on him at turn 5, but Len Nyes able to use the traction and the slipstream coming out of turn 5 down the Europalan to go to the inside through at turn number 6. And Ben Kaminsky, who was due to start 12th, has now Enzo Bol dives to the inside. Through he goes on Len Nyes at turn 9. Biggest loser at the moment is Bendit Sabo, who started on pole position and is now down in 7th. Mika van der Pavert and Ralph van der Pavert lead a 1-2. And it's actually a 1-2-3 for SP Motorsport at the moment. Oh, but Len Noyes having to check up. And he's going to lose a couple of positions, one of which is going to be to the 411. Artur Videra for KRK Racing. Videra takes the position from Len Noyes, who instantly counterattacks and gets it back. As there is Patrick Donica in the number 482. Artur Videra not that far behind, neither is Manuel Tenchet. Pepin Rietman also in the mix. Hamza Hashisho from Qatar is now running P11. You can see him with that very distinctive blue, that transitional sticker kit that goes from a deep blue to the purple of the Qatar and Motor and Motorcycle Federation, which I've had the pleasure of working with for the MENA Karting Championship Nations Cup for the past 3 years. And here goes Wout Kerstens up the inside. That is P3 for the man from the Netherlands, for Dams Racing. As all this is going to be a bit close. Oh, Manuel Tenchet still able to get his elbows out. And here he goes. The 496, Bendit Sabo through on Enzo Bol. And that is for position. Fastest lap of the race at the moment, Wout Kerstens, 55.574 for the man from the Netherlands. Running with Dams Racing. There's Enzo Bol trying to get through on Sabo Bendit for that position, which is going to be P4. And a dive from Len Noyes. Sideways he goes through on Artur Videra in the 411. But still at the moment, it is the brothers leading the way. Mika from Ralph, 423, gets the black and white warning flag. And that is David Mitchell. What's happened to Mattis Ankans, though, however? Mattis Ankans has dropped to the tail end of the field. Wout Kerstens puts in another fastest lap of the race, 55.183. He's trying to close the gap of about 1.4, 1.3 seconds to Ralph van der Pavet in P2. Well, Mika van der Pavet winning yesterday's final, and Steve Vermeulen winning in DD2 Masters. There goes Patrick Donica with another move. And that is going to be more than likely on the 411, and that is not what you want. Oh dear, Artur Videra and Pepin Rietman come into contact. Videra went for a send, through at turn 9 at Cafe Corner, collected Rietman, and Videra 180 degrees backwards the wrong way into the foam barriers. So yellow flags will be waving. Len Noyes, new fastest lap of the race, 55.028 by the 417 with Shepherd's Racing Service BV. So yellow flags waving at Marshall Post 6, green flag waving at Marshall Post 7 off of the final corner. And, fastest opening sector of the race, Hamza Hashisho. Fastest middle sector of the race, Len Noyes. Could we have 3 different runners doing 3 different purple sectors? Yes, we do. Wout Kerstens, fastest final sector. And the top 17, rounded out by Jim Ringelberg. They are covered by just over 9.6 seconds after 6 laps of racing. Wout Kerstens, once again, another new fastest lap of the race. And he went over 4 tenths quicker than Ralph van der Pavet in P2. The gap between second and third has dropped. It's been truncated this time around by over 4 tenths of a second. Which means that Wout Kerstens is not hanging about. And unfortunately for Artur Videra and Pepin Rietman, the race is over. They are both out. 2.72 kilometres remaining. That is 2 laps of this 1.36 kilometre circuit here at the Home of Champions. Mika and Ralph van der Pavet, the 2 brothers from SP Motorsport, are holding on for the meantime. But Wout Kerstens has got the gap down between Ralph van der Pavet and himself to just under 6 tenths of a second. So we are down to 21 runners and riders in this qualifying heat. Timer has officially hit 0. And at this point, Mika van der Pavert has a slender lead over elder brother Ralph. But Wout Kirstens makes it a lockout for the Dutch for the top 3. And Wout Kirstens another new fastest lap on lap number 8 out of 9, 54.527. But is it going to be enough for him to catch and pass the 2 in front? I would probably say that's a definitive no on that occasion. But now they are line astern, going through turn 7 for the final time here on lap number 9. Hamza Hashisho again has gone purple in the opening sector. He's really got that motorskate Birolot hooked up, ably assisted by Sanat Shanak, another good friend from the Birolot Middle East family. But it is going to be a brotherly 1-2. Mika and Ralph van der Pavert bring it across the line at the checkered, covered by just over 2.5 tenths of a second, with Wout Kirstens rounding out a top 3 lockout for the Netherlands. And the top 3 covered by just over 4 tenths after the checkered flag, with Sabo Bende from Hungary, Enzo Bol from the Netherlands rounding out the top 5. Len Nys from Belgium takes 6 ahead of Austria's Manuel Tenschert. Patrick Donica, Yannick Jacobs and Theo Lang round out the top the top 10. Well, it looks like it's Ralph van der Pavert showing as the race winner on that one. But so if it was 468, it would be Ralph. But I know for a fact that 468 and 486, two very different numbers. But Ralph van der Pavert takes the win. Mika van der Pavert takes second. So Hamza Hashisho started 9th, finishes in 11th. There's Theo Lemoigne, Christophe Capitan, Ben Kaminski, Mac McGilvray and David Mitchell, the 2 Brits, rounding at the top 16. Jim Ringelberg takes second in DD2 Masters ahead of the winner in the final yesterday, Steve Vermeulen. Gwen Bloxhill, Matthias Hankans and Dominic Hummels round out the 21 that finished all 9 laps of racing. Artur Videra and Pepin Rietman with an incident with 5 laps still to go, eliminated at turn number 9. That concludes the qualifying heat for DD2 and DD2 Masters. We have 3 more races left to go before the lunch break. As coming up next, it's going to be Junior Max qualifying heat 1, groups A versus C. Now we return to qualifying heat 2, groups A versus C for junior Rotax. Lewin Seidel, the fastest in time qualifying overall, starts from pole position as he's got Albert Friend alongside him on the front row. Denny Babacek and Tren van Melk round out row 2, with Lieke van Berkel joined by Luca Holmes-Balak on row 3. Mick Klinkers and Jensen Chalk round out row 4, with current points leader and winner in the final yesterday, Cian Bernard, on the inside of row 5. He's going to be joined by Louis Radcliffe. Finley Smith and Alex Shepard round out row 6, head of Emil Siedkowska and Mikkel Grantins. Tobias Johns will be joined by Harry Radcliffe on the next row, with Loris Perron-Mousset, Thibaut Mercier, Matthias Verreken, João Pereira, Finley Lines, Leon Herbos, Julian Dummer, Jensen Walker, Philip Hansler, Lionel Munguia, Augusta Hanik, Lennart Köster and Ollie Healy rounding out the grid. Of course, earlier on today, Ali Fuat Miraz and Rades Pascu have opted to not partake any further in the race weekend. So we wish them the very best of luck for their next races. But it means we have a very, very packed grid. Right, air temperature update. As you can see, skies are blue, sun is shining, track is bone dry. We are at 28 degrees centigrade, which is probably going to be more than north of 40 plus degrees centigrade on the track down below. Red lights are on the gantry. It's time for the revs to go up. Lights are on, and we are racing here in the second qualifying heat. And at the moment, Harry Taylor leads the intermediate classification, but Luan Seidel leads the way, heading into turn one. Albie Friend trying to go round the outside again. Denny Babacek might have gotten through on him, which he has done. And the Czech Republic driver up to P2. It's Noah's Ark, 2x2, in multiple exchanges, going through turns 3 and 4 as they head through the Europalan. An OTK kart gets a little bit of a touch and pushed slightly wide coming through turn 5. There's so much going on with the amount of drivers on this grid. 47 junior road tax drivers came to the Home of Champions this weekend to compete. And there is Lieke van Berkel in the 285 from the Netherlands for SP Motorsport. She's won she's very much in the hunt for the Chrono Karting, United Karting Series RMC Netherlands Championship. Of course, the United Karting Series is a joint conglomeration between Rotax Max Challenge Belgium and Rotax Max Challenge Netherlands. The latter run via Chrono Karting through Gabi van der Berg and her team. But Lieke van Berkel now has got Kian Bernard on her rear bumper. They go through into turn 5. Bernard to the inside of the driver from SP Motorsport, and Bernard gets through. Clean exchange between the pair, but Van Berkel using the slipstream to the best advantage she can muster. She's got Jensen Chalk behind, and at the moment, with the way things are standing, the intermediate classification will update real time. And at the moment, it is Albie Friend on 77. Luca Holmes-Black on 76. Jensen Chalk, 66. Louis Radcliffe, 55. Trent Van Malik, 55. Luan Seidel, 50. Harry Taylor, 50. And Jensen Walker on 48. But that could change. 2 minutes completed of the 7. And there's going to be another change for position. Kian Bernard just comfortably getting on with the task at hand, which is to move up the order. And that is now position number 6 gained for the man from Sam Pollitt Racing. He's up to P3 already. Loris Perron-Mousset gets a black and white warning flag from race control in the 211. Perron-Mousset currently sitting in 22nd position, has dropped down 5. Biggest mover at the moment is biggest mover at the moment was Jensen Walker. It is now Finlay Lines up 11 positions as the 281 from KR Sport representing the UK is now up to 10th position and is closing in on Mick Klinkers. Luan Seidel is no longer leading the race because Denny Babacek has gotten through and is half a second up the road. And here goes Kian Bernard for P2, and he gets the job done before the apex. There's still time for Bernard to get to the lead of the race and start pulling away. Just behind Albert Friend, you're probably going to see the likes of Jensen Chalk battling away with Lieke van Berkel. Luca Holmes-Balak. Finley Lines is about 1.4 seconds behind that battle, but Lines is now up to 8th place. That's a total of 13 positions gained. But unfortunately, we've had one retiree, and that was on the opening lap of the race. Commiserations to Augustin Hanik from France in the 2:15. Thibaut Mercier rounds out the runners and riders at the moment. Denny Babacek looks over his left shoulder, now looks over his right, just to gauge the attack vector that Kean Bernard will be engaging. And Bernard is right on the back of him. Oh! A slight misstep from Denny Babacek. And straight through goes Kean Bernard, as we've got 207 João Pereira from Portugal. And oh dear, Albie Friend could make this 3 wide. He nearly did. He nearly did in the battle for... oh no, and there's drama here. Seidel and Bernard. Oh dearie me, and Babacek's bolted. That just goes to show how quickly things can change. Bernard was being caught hand over fist. Seidel has now got right behind him. I think that might be Finley Lines. Oh, the cat was amongst the junior Rotax pigeons right there and then. Seidel and Bernard went wheel banging. And then Babacek said thank you very much. Albie Friend now up into P2. Luca Holmes-Balak now gets a warning flag from race control. But Bernard now has to gather himself back up again. Just put all what's happened just behind him. And carry on with the task, which is to get up to the sharp end of the field. Because after the intermediate classification, that is when the drivers score one set of points. And if you're at the top of the intermediate classification, that is 55 points that you gather to your credit. And then the second score will be next up, and that will be on the final. Emil Siatkowska from Germany gets a black and white warning flag in the 224 from race control. Currently sitting P11. Jensen Walker now up 14 spots. Oh, and a moment there for Albie Friend coming out of the final corner. And through goes Finley Lines. Lines now up to what is 3rd place, and that is 18 positions. Denny Babacek has got more clear air than he could possibly hope and desire at this moment, because he's 2.3 seconds up the road. There's Luan Seidel closing in on Albie Friend, pointing forward, saying, come on, just keep pushing. Mick Clinker's new fastest lap of the race. And Mick Clinkers has tumbled all the way down from 7th and is currently 26th at the minute. 56.722. And Albie Friend currently sitting in 4th position. Kean Bernard's just been given a warning flag from race control. He's trying to pull away from Finley Lines, but Denny Babacek has got 2.72 kilometres left to go. Luca Holmes-Balak, and there we go. Manuel Branco saying to Kean Bernard, just watch yourself. I'm keeping my eyes on you. Albie Friend loses out to Luan Seidel, and then it's all for themselves. Seidel to the outside at turn 3. That's never going to work. And to the inside goes the 2-2-0 of Luca Holmes-Balak that gets through. Timer has now expired. There's been multiple warning flags being shown. I think I've lost count, to be honest with you. 6 in this race so far. We've got one more lap to go because Denny Babacek is going to cross the line and start the last 1,360 metres. There he is, and his lead is coming down. Kean Bernard, new fastest lap of the race, 56.134, brings the gap down to just under 1.8. It's nearly 3 wide behind between the likes of Holmes-Balak, Seidel. Albert Friend now gets the warning flag. Kean Bernard, as I said, new fastest lap. There's Jensen Chalk, amongst others. I think Trent van Melk is in that mix. 2.88 from the Netherlands. But this has... Oh, and there's been a drama. Oh, dear. And that was, I think that was off of turn 4. But Denny Babicek was given the biggest door opening possible when Bernard and Seidel banged wheels. And that was a few laps ago. But Denny Babicek, the younger brother of Teresa, will take the checkered flag. Denny Babicek wins Heat 2. Cian Bernard second. Finlay Lines from 21st on the grid rounds out the top 3. Oh, and there's a set of names that are tumbling down the order. Albert Friend, Jensen Chalk, and Lieke van Berkel. Oh dear. I am seeing, and that is, Lieke van Berkel. Nassau panel is skewed to the right-hand side. Her cart is now being pulled by the marshals towards the entry to the pits. But Denny Babicek wins for Dan Holland Racing by 1.8 seconds. Head of Cian Bernard, Finlay Lines, Luca Holmes-Balak, Luan Seidel, Trent Van Melk, Louis Radcliffe, Emir Siadkowska, Mikkel Grantins, and João Pereira from Portugal takes 10 places to finish in the 10th spot in the 207. Matthias Verdaken up 8 spots to finish 11th, head of Finlay Smith. Lionel Munguia up 13 and finishing ahead of Jensen Walker, with Alex Shepard completing the top 15. Julien Dumas, Loris Perron-Mousset, Harry Radcliffe, Tobias Johns, Philip Hansler, Mick Klinkers, Leon Herbos, Leonard Köster. Jensen Chalk ends up 24th across the line, ahead of Ollie Healy, Thibaut Mercier, and Albie Friend, who finishes 27th. Lieke van Berkel out with 1 lap to go. Augustin Hanik out on the very first lap, with Ali Fouad Miraz and Valis Pascu non-starters, but drama for 3 top drivers in this race as Babicek bolts away and gets the job done. They'll be with us a little bit later on for their final qualifying heat, and that will be after the lunch break. We now return to senior road tax action for qualifying Heat 3, Groups A versus C, and here is your starting grid. Tino Sidler will start from pole position. He'll be joined by Lars Lammers on the front row. Max Swiderski and Bastien Mesnil will round out row 2, ahead of Antoine Lemieux and Boris Verhaag. Jori Schoens, Attila Kalapax, Lara Kulhanidze and Conor Large round out the top 10. Boris Maximov, Ollie Wise, Russell Deacon, Charlie King, Vic van Kampenhout, Arav Dewan, Rafael Mihor, and then Philip Lenk, who's due to start on the outside of row 9, not having come out, so might have to start from the dummy grid. Is due to start ahead of Akon Madaras and Andrea Remy. Luca de Moitru, Antoine Taron, Rein van der Meer, Hanna Zuberveld, Koen Willems, Enzo Zani, Cody Lepaterel from Guernsey, Rein Kairouz and Dennis Helson from Belgium rounding out the grid. Ava Morris not racing this here today after picking up an injury yesterday, so get well soon, Eva. Glad that you're still here supporting the rest of the crew at KR Sports and wishing you all the very best in your next weekend of racing, which will be here at the Euro Trophy. So, intermediate classification update. Lewis Gilbert and Macaulay Bishop tied on 50 apiece. Vince van der Halle and Leon Hasty rounding out the top. They're equal on 44 apiece. I've just been informed that Philip Lenk has now withdrawn from the meeting. Lars Lambers and Bran van der Weyken tied on 41 points apiece. Tino Sidler and Harry Freeman 38 points apiece. So Tino Sidler's unbroken win streak has been broken. And now he's got to start fighting back. So Macaulay Bishop won the opening heat. Lewis Gilbert won heat 2. So are we going to have a third different winner from 3 different heats so far? Let's find out as the red lights are on the gantry here for senior road tax qualifying heat number 3. Revs up, lights on. We are underway. Who's going to get to the first corner first? Well, at the moment, Tino Sidler holds the line. Lars Lambers to the outside. Max Swiderski to his inside gets through for second position, but there's been a turnaround at the back end of the field. Some drivers trying to go 2 by 2 hurrah Noah's Ark style through into turn 3. There's Bastien Mesnil, who's got Antoine Lemieux behind him. And there's Attila Kalapax, the Hungarian in the 357, trying to get through. A couple of dive bombs happening at turn 6, where drivers are trying to get through rather quickly. And sometimes there is always that conundrum that I sometimes mention, which is the state of urgency or the state of desperation. Now, some of these drivers, well, the drivers do need to be very, very mindful. Tee up that move. And here we go. Sidler versus Swiderski. Mesnil, P3. Lambers, P4. Lemieux, Verhaag, Kalapax. Maximov now up 3 places and is currently P8 ahead of Jori Schoens and Deacon Russell, who's now moved up into 10th. Biggest move at the moment, Rein van der Meer from the Netherlands, currently started 23rd, now runs 15th. Sidler takes a look over his right shoulder, sees where Swiderski is, and parks it on the racing line through turn 6. Into the sweeper here at 7. And there is a bit of a gap starting to grow between Max Swiderski, and it's not going to be Bastien Mesnil anymore because Lars Lambers has got through for 3rd position. The UAE's Andrea Remy gets the black and white warning flag from race control, the 345. We'll see that on the digital flag once he crosses the stripe. And Sidler Goes defensive in front of Siderski, who's going to switch to the outside line. Moves over to the left of the start-finish straight. Sidler is going to try and park it where he can. Stays in front of the young Dutchman and keeps the lead for the moment. Rein van der Meer, in the meantime, has just gone purple in sectors 2 and 3. And it's now up 10 positions. Ollie Wise, the 3:56 from KR Sports, has put in the fastest lap of the race. So 57.120. And Ollie Wise currently sits in 12th, which is exactly where he started. Meantime, looks like there might be a change behind our top 2. I don't see a Bouvin Power Kart. No, I see a Dan Holland Racing kart. And that is Antoine Lemieux from Canada, who's just put in the fastest opening sector of the race so far. Bastien Mesnil looking very, very sharp in sector 2. And in the final sector, it's Rein van der Meer, who's now dropped down to 12th position. Ollie Wise up to 11th. Conor Large past Jody Schoens for 9th place. But now, Akos Madaras, the number 306, has now just been hit with the black and white warning flag. Boris Verhaag, new fastest lap in the 302 kart. Where is Boris Verhaag? All the way down in 26th position. That's a very difficult, a bitter pill for the young Dutch driver to swallow. And it's just gone purple in the opening sector. So fastest lap, and then decides sector 1. Let's go for it, shall we? I've got nothing to lose. I've got everything to gain. And at the moment, well, Tino Sidler now becomes the new leader in the provisional intermediate classification on 88 points. Lars Lambers, who holds on to 4th position at the moment, 79 points. Bastien Mesnil in 5th, 72. Boris Maximov, who's now up 4 places and is in 7th, moves to 4th on 68. Attila Kalapak, 62. Max Siderski, who's closing in on Tino Sidler, 57. Jori Schoens, now in 11th position as he's been passed by Ollie Wise, is now in 7th with Antoine Lemieux in 3rd place, now on 51. Oh, and there's a clash of wheels. 374, Charlie King being one of them, and the other one I think might have been Rein van der Meer in the Croc Promotion chassis. Van der Meer trying to get through on the Brit, but that's not quite working so far. Five laps done and dusted, and Tino Sidler continues to lead the way ahead of Max Siderski, Antoine Lemieux, Lars Lambers, Bastien Mesnil, Attila Kalapak, Zlado Kouanidze, our sole Georgian representative in the entire grid, gets a black and white warning flag from race control. Lado is currently running P12 at the minute. Lars Lambers' new fastest lap, 55.506 for the man from Belgium. As here goes Rein van der Meer on Charlie King at turn 5. Gets through, that's 14th now. Charlie King gets the switch back through at turn number 8. Retakes 14th. Max Siderski is still trying to close in on Tino Sidler. Sidler still holding on to that race lead. Fastest lap now goes the way of Lado Kouanidze, the 380 from Georgia with a 55.399. So just under a minute remaining plus an additional lap. And Tino Sidler trying to hold on. As there we see the 342. Lars Lambers passed Antoine Lemieux and is now currently at the minute 3rd. As the leaders make their way through the final corner. Tino Sidler still leading at the minute, ahead of Max Siderski. They cross the stripe and they're just under 3.5 tenths of a second apart. And bearing in mind, Rein van der Meer has just got a black and white warning flag from race control. Obviously, there's observing the driving standards. So Lars Lambers, purple sector 1. Tino Sidler, purple sector 2. Max Sidursky, purple sector 3. Max Sidursky, new fastest lap. 55.219. He's got that gap to about 3 and a bit tenths of a second as we hit 0 on the timer. But our leaders now coming through into turn number 9 at Cafe Corner. And then it'll be another 1.36 kilometres to negotiate to the checkered flag for what will be the official halfway point of the qualifying heat stages for senior Rotax. One more lap to go. Final lap underway. Sidler has kept a comfortable grasp on the race lead. And Max Sidursky is doing a little bit of damage limitation. The first heat for him didn't go quite according to plan, but it's going to put him in the top 6 at the minute for the intermediate classification, which will further have change upon it as Ollie Wise goes quickest of anybody, 55.097. No purple sectors, but improved across the board, put personal best, and he's up to P9. But just as we saw yesterday, Tino Sidler has hit his Swiss stride in full effect here this weekend, because he didn't win his opening qualifying heat, but this is going to be a 5th win out of 6 races this weekend. What a run by Tino Sidler. Wins qualifying heat number 3 for senior Rotax by just over 3/4 of a second. Max Sidursky, P2. Lars Lambers, P3. Antoine Lemieux finishes 4th, ahead of Bastien Mesnil, Attila Kalapak, Spors Maximov, Deacon Russell, Ollie Wise, Yori Schoens complete the top 10. Lado Korhenice, Conor Large, Andrea Remy, Charlie King, Antoine Tajon, Raphael Mahor, Rain Vandermeer, Boris Verhaag, Enzo Zani, Arab Dewan rounds out your top 20. Akos Madaras, Vic van Kampenhout, Rein Kairus, Dennis Helsen, Hannes Zuberveld, Luca de Moitru, Cody de Paterel are the last of the classified runners, with Koen Willems out on the opening lap and Philip Blank and Ava Morris withdrawing from the event. But Tino Sidler, with an 83.3% success rate, continues his dominant grasp over senior Rotax this weekend. As the Sunday sunshine continues to bathe the famed circuit known as Karting Genk, the home of champions, with its radiant warmth, we are not that far away, about 90 seconds possibly, from releasing another set of senior Rotax drivers as we are set and ready for our final qualifying heat before the lunch break. Senior Rotax qualifying heat number 4, Groups B versus D. 3 different winners so far in the first 3 qualifying heats of the day. Macaulay Bishop and Lewis Gilbert, where are they? They're on the front row. Tino Sidler can now have a little bit of a respite before he comes back again for another opportunity. And that will be on the penultimate qualifying heat of the weekend. But at the moment, the intermediate classification stands as thus. Sidler leads it on 88 points. Lambers, 82. Mesnil, 72. Maximov, 68. Kalapax, 62. That is your top 5 at the moment. As Koen Willems' kart is now being brought into Park Vermey by the recovery vehicle. Big thank you to the crew operating that for their assistance this weekend. Green light shows at the start-finish line here at the Home of Champions. Let's take you through the grid for Senior Rotax qualifying Heat 4, B versus D. 2 formation laps ahead of them before they go into the tram lines. Macaulay Bishop and Lewis Gilbert on the front row of the grid. Mick van den Hout and Vince van der Holle, row 2. Row 3, Teresa Babichkova and Harry Freeman. Row 4, Leon Hasty and Ado Sabaha. Freddie Lloyd and Tom Reja round out the top 10 ahead of Blan van der Weken, Sebastian Koch, Matej Vikor, Connie Clark, Louis Oliver Gunther, Mark Kimber, Danny Shields, Tom Strela, Tobias Norman, William Pemble, Shun Sekaguchi, Bo Ulrichs, Sverre Ubben, Matteo Monterone, Noah Janssen, Giorgio Monterone, Reimer van Beek, and last but by certainly no means least, Louis Le Rigoleur, Ryan Gandor, non-starter. So in the top 10 we have 2 Scotsmen. And I am going to say Scotsmen because they have the Sol tyre on their side pods. Rude not to say that, because if like say, and I have to give a shout out to a former Senior Rotax driver who is here, youngest ever Senior Rotax BNL kickoff winner, Matty Higgins is here from Trafalguis. Welcome along, good to see you. He's definitely grown up, that man, and now helping drivers to improve race weekend after race weekend. So good to see Matthew Higgins with us here in person. But then after this race, there'll be 2 more qualifying heats to go, and then it will then by through the intermediate classification. That will be when the first set of points today will be handed out. So if you're at the top of the intermediate classification, you get pole for the final, and you get 55 points to your credit. As they say. oh, here we go. Ollie D on YouTube. Big shout out to Lloyd's mechanic, Marv. Did you just mean to enunciate that with too many A's in there, Ollie? Well played. Right. As they say, it is the calm before the storm. The last few drivers make their way to the end of the rolling start formation. 7 minutes plus an additional lap. Red lights on the gantry. Bishop and Gilbert on the front row of the grid. Revs up. Lights on. And we're underway. Let's see what happens over the next 7 minutes plus an additional lap as Gilbert puts the frighteners on Bishop. Bishop keeps out of harm's way. Gilbert gets the lead. Now everyone else trying to get through. They can use the runoff area off of turn 1 once and once only. Any further deviation, that will be a time penalty post-race. But Lewis Gilbert leads. The field is 2-3 wide towards the, right in the crux of the second half of the field. And going along with the top 2 is going to be the 372 of Belgium's Vince van der Holle. nearly won as well. He won as much as he could last year as a junior. He's trying to go for the switchback on Macaulay Bishop. Bishop was wise to that. Fourth is going to be Harry Freeman. Leon Hasty is now up into fifth. Arnold Sabra up to sixth position. Today's Zabavichkova not getting her textbook lightning starts as we've seen all the way through the weekend. She's down to seventh ahead of Mick Vandenhout, Freddie Lloyd and Mark Kimber now round out the top 10. The leaders make their way down the famed Judapalan into turn 6. And everything is starting to close up between the quintets at the sharp end of the field. Gilbert taking occasional glances over his shoulder. Mick Vandenhout has just been given a black and white warning flag from race control. He's lost out a bit this time. I see in front of him, Mark Kimber is in front of him. Today's Babichkova and Freddie Lloyd have actually gotten away from him as well. So there is Babichkova. Gilbert goes right to defend against Bishop. Bishop now tries to put the cart to the outside into turn number 1. But the Scotsman, the man from Dolrai in Ayrshire, says, no, you don't. I know how you operate, and when you think about it, Lewis Gilbert, now in GV3 with Arden Motorsport. He's got some pretty big tracks to deal with in the coming weeks, I think, including, if I remember correctly, well, Lewis is Lewis at the moment, and I can actually tell you where is he at the moment in the standings for it, because it's going to be quite close. Lewis Gilbert currently, he is 14th in the championship with 36 points. At Silverstone, looks like he had a third, a fifth and a sixth. And at the 2 rounds at Spa, he placed 11th. He's got the Hungaroring, Red Bull Ring. Funnily enough, he's going to the Red Bull Ring the week before I go there. Then another round at Silverstone, Donington Park, Brands Hatch, and then Barcelona. So a very, very packed calendar for the man from Dolrai. Shun Sekaguchi, the son of Yuhi Sekaguchi, who runs with the Sard team for Toyota Gazoo Racing in Super GT GT500, has just put in the fastest lap of the race. Shun has gotten up 4 places now and is up to 17th at the minute as we are halfway through the race. Gilbert still keeping a calm, cool grip on the lead of this race. Kai Clark down in 13th, gets the black and white warning flag from race control. And unfortunately, Tobias Norman is out of the race on the very first lap. Now, Bishop is going to have to keep a watching brief on the man behind him, Vince van der Halle, who is, at this moment, before we came into this round yesterday, leading the series. Bishop is the defending champion. And it's getting really, really close. Oh my goodness me. Top 6 last time round after 4 laps. Rounded out by Teresa Babichkova in the 3.63 from Dan Holland Racing. Recovered by less than 9/10 of a second. And at the moment, the way things are, if Gilbert or Bishop win this race, that individual will have 100 points to their credit. But Gilbert currently leads the intermediate classification on 100 points. Bishop, 94. Sidler, 88. Van der Halle, who's rounding out the top 3 on 85. Lars Lambers, 5th, ahead of Leon Hasty and Harry Freeman. With 2 minutes to go, look at this. Well, all I can say, yes, Lewis Gilbert is keeping good, consistent pace. And sometimes to win, you don't always need to go completely flat out and give it the berries. You need to bring consistency and a good driving style that's smooth and consistent. Tom Strela, the man from just outside of Riga in Latvia, has just put in the fastest lap of the race, 55.632. Leaders come through turn 9 out of Cafe Corner into 10. As Macaulay Bishop tries to go for the crisscross. Coming out of turn number 11, he's going to go to the inside. Gilbert's going to squeeze him. Bishop 2 wheels on the grass. but still kept the throttle fully lit. And now that has brought, well, Bishop's put in the fastest lap of the race. 55.557. And look at this. Gilbert gets the warning flag. Bishop now in second. Van der Holle third. Babichkova has now gone up to fourth. Just passes Harry Freeman down the Europolan. Leon Hasty is going to be there at the back. Well, he's not at the back of the train anymore because Freddie Lloyd, Evolution Racing's winner of yesterday's final. Two to go. Gilbert. And he's saying to... Oh, right. Manuel Blanco, our race director, saying to Lewis Gilbert, do not zigzag. Do not move significantly. You can't move. You can make one move, but you can't make more than the one that you initially instigate. You can defend once, and that's it. Kai Clark, fastest lap of the race as the time hits 0. Leaders now making their way down the Europolan for the final time. Van der Holle trying to see if he can get an opportunity to put his nose up the inside of Macaulay Bishop down the Europolan, but on that particular occasion he was not successful. Today's Babichkova, she might have an opportunity out of the final corner to steal P3 away from the Bouvin Power driver. Through turn 9, now into the left-hander here at turn 10. Lewis Gilbert now on course and will come out of the final corner, and the 3:29 from Ayrshire in Scotland will take a second successive heat win. Across the line he goes. And that will be more than in a lap's time. I thought it was... I got ahead of myself there. It's been a long day up here in the commentary box, and also yesterday. But still, Gilbert is holding on to that race lead. Louis Oliver Gunter gets the black and white warning flag from race control. And look at this. I'm just looking down the times at the moment. Top 8. Well, make that top 10. Mick van den Hoek. He's 2.1 seconds behind Lewis Gilbert. Look at that train. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think 8. 8 carts. Rounded out by Lewis Gilbert's Scottish countryman, Leon Hasty. Babichkova is through for third. But look at this. It's the Lewis Gilbert conga line. Into the final corner. Powering out of it. Gilbert is going to run it to the line. And he will take the win. 2 wins in a row in 2 successive heats for the man from Dolroy in Ayrshire, the pride of Scotland, Lewis Gilbert from Craft Motorsport. And he's also part of the Potenza Racing Engines family as well. So Lewis Gilbert puts himself at the head of the intermediate classification, winning the race ahead of Macaulay Bishop, who finishes second. Today's Babichkova could have been... She's got a little bit of work to do to get herself up the intermediate classification after this race. But she manages to take P3. Ahead of Vince van der Holle, Freddie Lloyd, Bran van der Weken, Leon Hasty, Mark Kimber, Harry Freeman, and Arnaud Sabarin rounding out the top 10. Tom Hedger from Germany finishes ahead of countryman Sebastian Koch, with Noah Janssen up 12 places to finish 13th, ahead of Shun Sekiguchi and Sverre Ubben, who ran at the top 15. Kai Clark, Bo Arris, Danny Shields, Tom Searler and William Pemble ran out your top 20, with Louis Oliver Gunter, Matteo Montrone, Matej Vigor, Louis Le Rigoleur, Giorgio Montrone and Raymer van Beek being the last to cross the line after 9 laps of racing. Unfortunately for Mick van den Hout, it didn't go too well, retiring with 1 lap to go, with Tobias Norman out on the opening lap, Ryan Gandor withdrawing from the event to refocus on next week's Euro Trophy. Well, that concludes this morning's action for the qualifying heats here on the BNL Karting Series YouTube channel, powered by WFR TV. We can have a little bit of a respite, get some food down our necks and some rehydration amidst the hot weather conditions here in the Limburg region of Belgium. But join us at 2:10 this afternoon for the pre-finals here for round 3, day 2 for season 2026. We'll see you in a bit.